Hey guys, Kyle here. So, just before the show starts, I wanted to mention our Patreon. You can pay us $1 a month as a thank you, as a tip. You can pay $2 a month to get access to one of our bonus content shows, episodes 2 days early, and a secret Discord chat where all of our Patreon donors get to go and hang out and talk with us directly. Then there's a $5 tier that you can donate to get access to a whole bunch more content. We have multiple bonus episodes on there. So please check it out. Patreon.com/itgetsweird. We don't advertise, we don't make money. So check it out and throw some money if you think that would be cool. Thanks. Welcome to It Gets Weird, our comedy show where we explore the unusual, the unbelievable, and the unexplained to try and make your world a little weirder. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Niall.
And Niall, you been watching the Olympics, Niall?
I actually did watch a little bit of it because I was at my parents' last week, and they are the kind of people that just have either the news or sports on at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw a bit of what do they call it? Mono.
It's like where they throw a single ball around a bit and
No.
like toss it all around and stuff.
No, it's monobob. That's what it's called. It's
like
bobsledding, but only one person in the sled.
Okay.
It's new this year. It's new. It's great. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's one person in a
single
bobsled. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. You know, I have something that I thought about recently for various reasons is I have like vivid memories of my life and like where I can like be like, oh yeah, this is when the Olympics was happening, you know, like
Okay.
even though I didn't really watch it, but like my family would typically turn on the Olympics. And this month we have the it was Beijing, right?
Yeah, it's in China.
It is okay. So we've got the Winter Olympics, right?
Mhm.
And so with all that going on, I started to poke around, curious to see what kinds of conspiracies could be surrounding the Olympics.
Oh, we're doing Olympic conspiracies? Okay.
Yeah.
See, good on you for being real topical. I'm always miss the topical stuff by like a month, and it then is like not worth doing.
No, well, so like I was thinking about I was like seeing news come out about the Olympics, and I was like, I would occasionally see someone be like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that person did this really crazy sports thing. Interesting.
Yeah.
I've never been a big watcher of the stuff, but like, again, my family would turn it on when I was younger as well. I remember some of the like, what I remember very vividly are like opening ceremonies.
Yeah, they're usually pretty wild. I remember very, very excitedly when like Frank Turner was in the opening ceremonies.
Yeah, do you remember which one that was?
I mean, it was in London. I can tell you that much because that was the whole thing. They had like someone dressed as the Queen parachuting down from the ceiling and shit.
Oh my God, Niall. I did an episode on the 2012 London Olympics. And
fantastic.
I am so glad you watched that. Okay. I watched that for this episode, the opening ceremony. I skipped around it and I watched the segments like that. Please, everybody, go back and watch the James Bond bit from the 2012 London Olympics. It is surreal.
Yeah, it's a real fish and chips fever dream.
I was losing my mind watching this because like there was this weird thing where like it would be like filmed normally and then the footage would like speed up for 2 or 3 seconds at once, and it was often on like footage of the Queen's corgis. And like, there's like weird like shots of Bond where it honestly almost seems like he is like there. The way it's shot is like almost ominous at times. And it makes me think like, oh, okay, so Bond has been tasked with killing the Queen.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fucking weird. And then they parachute out of a helicopter together.
That's what it was. Yeah. I remember the quote unquote Queen parachuting out of a helicopter in the stadium. And I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? Because I turned it on because I was like a big Frank Turner fan at the time.
Yeah,
and I heard that he was going to be doing stuff, and he literally played for like 20 seconds. Like it's so short.
I forgot that Frank Turner showed up at that, but that I was so distracted by this fucking bit.
Oh yeah,
like seriously. just go back, watch that clip of the James Bond thing, but keep it in your mind that Daniel Craig as James Bond is like struggling internally the whole time with the fact that he has to kill the queen.
Yeah, it's a real crisis of conscience, because like normally the whole point of MI6 is that you're not going to, you're going to protect queen and country, and he's been tasked with the ultimate betrayal. So
right. Well, so I went back and watched a whole bunch of 2012 Olympic stuff, and man, people back then, I figured you can't have these like global events without there being conspiracy theory. And my God, I did not expect how deep this rabbit hole went.
Is this like the weirdest thing you've watched for research for this show? Is like, oh, I'm gonna go back and watch an old Olympic ceremony. It's like me having to watch Super Bowl halftime shows.
That's what I was thinking
the, like,
of.
Hoover
Yeah.
Dam thing.
Yeah, I was thinking. And what's funny too is like there's a part where in one of the like I got a lot of forum posts, information from forum posts in this episode. And there was one person who was just like, given the satanic nature of the current NFL and how brazen they are about it, it only makes sense that this would extend to the Olympics. And it was like, this post is from like 2008. Like, this is so long. It has been such a long time coming, this bullshit. So, as far as I can tell, the conspiracy theorizing about the 2012 Olympics in London begins with it doesn't really begin here, but this is what makes it kind of bubble to the surface. It actually begins in around 2007, but we'll get to that. But the thing that seems to have caused the conspiracy theories to become more as popular as they could in 2012 was when they unveiled the logo for that year.
Oh man,
do you remember this?
I vaguely remember what the logo was. What was it?
So everybody at home, give it a Google. It's kind of like sharp and angular and bright colors with like a border, but it's kind of this trendy design for the time.
Yeah.
And it was very much reeked of like what the internet kind of was like at the time as well. And people didn't really like the logo. It's kind of ugly if we're being honest, but for a fringe and complete, let's be real, anti-Semitic few, it sparked other negative thoughts. And I remember seeing this on the internet at the time. I don't remember where I saw this, but conspiracy theorists began to point out that if you moved these highly stylized numbers around that say 2012, they looked like the letters could spell out the word Zion.
I mean, now we're just having fun with fonts, aren't we? Like, come on.
Yeah. So
it's the fucking year.
it's so stupid. And basically, let's just pause. That word among conspiracy theorists, this is of course the reference. This is like a supposed
the globalists.
It is a signal towards the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is an extremely debunked and extremely anti-Semitic fake text. So you can kind of see where this goes. The logo for this Olympics event it's one of those out in the open signals by the Zionist cabal, and they're just saying something is coming and look to this event. Of course, no normal person believed this or even heard about this conspiracy because they were normal people.
Hey, normal's just a setting on a washing machine. I just want you to remember that.
That's and that's very true. And no washing machines were aware of the anti-Semitic conspiracy mongering either. So despite all that being stupid, the seed was planted, and the next big tell for the conspiracy crowd that continued to kind of push this thing. Yes?
Wait. To make the 2012 thing into Zion, you have to flip one of the letters, don't you? Like sideways?
Yeah, you have to take the second two and flip it sideways.
I was parsing that out in my brain, and I hadn't thought about that until now. Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's basically 2102, but then the final two has to be tilted at like 45 degrees or so. So it's but that was meticulously designed by the evil Jewish conspiracy people.
The Jews run the graphic design world,
That's true. That's true.
Oh fuck. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Continue.
No,
that was just like itching in my brain. My brain was just like rotating stuff around in it, trying to figure out like, okay, so there's no way to do this without rotating a letter.
Hey, listeners at home, rotate this with your mind.
Yeah.
So the other big thing that came out that the conspiracy crowd had a little bit of a fit over was the announcement of the Olympic mascots of 2012. And these guys, I think, are in retrospect kind of awkward. And okay, so they're two like metallic creatures called Wenlock and Mandeville. They're both like cyclopic, shiny, stumpy little freaks.
I don't remember this at all. I have to look this up.
Well, I can explain to you if you don't look him up. Basically, Wenlock is an orange and silver guy with like a pointed. He's got like a sort of pointed tip on top of his head with this like classic London taxi design on it. And the other one, basically, he wears like the 5 rings on his arms as bracelets as well, the Olympic rings. And then Mandeville is very similar. Except he's got this like, I don't know, disgusting monstrous facsimile of hair where like it's like this jagged hair on top of his head, and he's blue and silver instead of silver and orange or yellow or whatever. And he wears what is essentially a Fitbit. And both of them in the design like document that I found for them, it has like a marker thing pointing to their eye saying this is a camera that lets them record everything they see.
Because of CCTVs, or like what is the design reason? I'm trying to like set the groundwork before I jump into the conspiracy reasoning of like, what was the design choice that led to that?
Don't know. I didn't get too deep into it, although I bet you anything that there are articles on exactly why these things were designed the way they were. I didn't get too deep into that side of things. But here's the thing, Niall. To the layman, these were just like weird little Crazy Bone-esque freaks.
They do look a bit like Funny Bones.
Yeah, and so like people were just like, but the conspiracy theorists, Niall, they were like, these are clearly aliens. These are so clearly extraterrestrials.
I mean, like, they do look like PS2 res.
They do.
Aliens, like that's about the level of what you have. As soon as you hit like PS3, they wouldn't look like aliens anymore because they seem kind of like a low poly build, you know?
Yeah, these are 2 characters from a show that would air on Jetix at 9 a.m. on Saturday. So definitely. But now, okay, Niall, I bet you're kind of thinking to yourself like, oh, so what's the idea here? Like, are the Olympics like some sort of planned alien invasion false flag conducted by the secret cabal that runs the world to further...
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Or were you thinking that, wait, so maybe the 2012 London Olympics were an attempt to enact mass surveillance and imprison attendees? And this plan is concocted by the fiendish secret society that runs the world from the shadows. Is that what you're thinking?
Okay, but why would you just imprison people who go to the Olympics? Are we just punishing sports fans?
Yes. It's an elaborate comedy bit. No, I honestly...
I mean, hey, the world might be a little better off if we imprison fucking sports fans. If you get my drift.
Am I right?
People that enjoy the arts, you know,
right,
deserve the freedom to be creative with their minds, unlike you sports fans. And now fuck all that. But it is kind of weird that it's like, oh, the Olympics are this big thing to imprison people. And it's like, okay, but who are you imprisoning? People that like shot put? I don't fucking know.
It's so here's the thing that's kind of here's the thing. Those are both the valid, quote unquote, valid paths of this conspiracy that I found. Yeah. And then a third wild card that I'll mention later. But as I kind of understand the like mass incarceration version of it, it's basically like they're meant to like show their power and like have people like give up control and stuff. It's pretty vague, as these things are.
Yeah. Now in Britain are like Tesco's FEMA camps as opposed to Walmart's.
Yeah, Tesco's will be converted into FEMA camps. Yeah. You're going to. I'm trying to think of British things. They're going.
Name at least one more.
Fish and chip shops will be turned into
all your
re-education
all your
centers.
buddy stops are
no what's the wet pea barm or is that Scottish? I can't remember.
Wet pea bam wet or P-Bam, what? I don't fucking know. This is truly us
No,
embarrassing
I
ourselves because like this is a thing. Look, it's a local cuisine. I don't fucking know. All I know is that chip buddy is a thing.
Yeah.
And it's just fries on like a sandwich roll, and that seems like a very weird thing. But that's hey, more power to you.
Yeah,
Don't fucking know.
I hope you enjoyed those while you had them because they're going to be turned into re-education centers.
Honestly, French fry, like soggy French fries on like a Kaiser roll seems like something you might get served in a FEMA camp, in like some form of like re-education camp. You know, it's like starch is cheap, so we're gonna
yeah. So there's like these multiple angles that are taken to like try and have this conspiracy make some semblance of sense. And I found a few paths, like I said, but let's tackle the alien invasion one first because that's the most like popular version. So I have here from the Guardian's article on the conspiracy. The basic scenario goes something like this. While the world's eyes are on London in 2012, a spectacular alien invasion will take place at the Olympic Stadium, or so the public will think.
Okay, false flag alien invasion. Love it.
It will actually be a hoax invasion orchestrated by the New World Order as an excuse to stage a global coup d'etat. Terrified by the appearance of aliens, the world's populace will surrender their civil liberties, and they, a vague array of elite cliques such as the Bilderberg Group, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, and dynasties such as the English royal family, the Rockefellers, and the Rothschilds, will have smoothly achieved their goal of a single world government, economy, and religion.
Is like a false flag NWO takeover this generation's version of 2012 conspiracies, like end of the world conspiracies? Because like I feel like there's a thing of like they're always setting a new date and a new event where it's going to happen, and it's this like kind of apocalyptic thinking of like a paranoid person trying to deal with the like entropy almost. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you could make that argument. I guess I don't see as many look, when you're living in the slow burn protracted apocalypse, maybe that becomes less appealing. And it's more interesting to be like, oh, they're going to enact mass surveillance and control and establish a one world government and currency, and that's more interesting, and it's got like a political intrigue to it. I don't really know, because no political intrigue to a giant planet colliding with Earth, you know.
I love how a lot of these conspiracies are like mass government surveillance when the NSA just exists.
Right. I was going to say, like
come on.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
It's already happening, and it's like not as exciting as your fantasy version of it either. It's very mundane.
Yeah. You're not that interesting.
Yeah. So I thought that bit from the article was a really good summary and allows me to just summarize it, because the things that I want to talk about are the more weird in-depth shit here.
Yeah, that's just like, for as seemingly aggressive as that comes off, that is very just textbook. That is just like, if you're like a conspiracy about a big global event, oh yeah, sure, they're going to use that to take over the world with a one world government. Yeah, that's boilerplate.
So this whole thing led me down a rabbit hole to a specific person.
Okay.
As far as I can tell, we have a particular crank to thank for the popularity.
We're the crank thankers here on It Gets Weird.
Hey, this is Kyle, and welcome to Crank Thankers.
We're here to thank all the cranks that give us the topics for this podcast.
Yes, and it's like we're not gonna list off our patrons, but we are going to give a shout out to every single crank that has given us quality content.
Crank of the week, you know?
Crank of the week.
I mean, that's just basically an episode.
That's true. That really is. So, as far as I can tell, this is the guy. This is a UK man whose name was Richard John Clay, better known as Rick Clay.
I was hoping you were going to say Dick Clay.
Dick Clay. Dick Clay. That's what he's molded from the... I don't know where I was about to go with that. Also, not to get too far ahead, but I found people still conspiracy theorizing about the 2012 Olympics as recently as 2020.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that something actually happened and we just don't know it, or that like something is still going to happen.
If you're going from the angle of these events are signals as to what's going to come, that's That's
Okay.
where it's kind of coming from. So I'll get to that later, though.
Okay.
So Clay is the one who popularized this rearranged logo thing and then does like a whole bit about the rearranged logo and all the symbolism and stuff. But it didn't initially come from him. So this is another snippet from the article from the Washington
Do you
Post.
think Clay is just a big fan of the Captain Underpants books? And that's where he came around to the like rearranging letters on a sign to like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. The
come fill our wet
2012
diapers or whatever.
Yeah, the 2012 Olympics is actually meant to say Zion. The gym, the sign outside the gym now says "Go pee on your socks for warmth."
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think he was taking some notes from Dave Pilkey.
Yeah. I could not have pulled the guy's name if you paid me.
I was
so I'm glad you're here.
Fan as a kid of Captain Underpants. I do remember that stuff very, very well. So, Washington Post says Rick Clay's Olympics fit theory was chiefly inspired by another British researcher, Ian R. Crane, whom he saw speaking at an event in Glastonbury in 2007. A former oil industry executive, Crane is something of a heavy hitter on the conspiracy circuit. He regularly holds public lectures and releases DVDs on what he calls deep geopolitics, and claims to have predicted the BP Deepwater Horizon oil rig disaster and preempted a failed terrorist attack in Chicago in 2006.
Okay, by preempted, does he mean that he like prophesied it, or did he
yes.
actually?
No,
like, did he go in and
it
like Mark? If I were on that plane, Mark Wahlberg style.
Yeah, yes.
You know?
No, I believe predicted it supposedly. It was Crane who first deciphered the Zion in the Olympic logo and who suggested a fake UFO invasion was being planned. We've seen the abilities of this is so fucking funny. We've seen the abilities of computer graphics in Hollywood movies, he says. It doesn't take much to recast that fantasy as something that's then presented as a reality.
Except for like it takes a lot of fucking wild projectors.
Yeah, this dude saw
that I don't think we really had in mass in 2012.
No,
this is the thing that when everyone's like, they can do a lot with computers nowadays in Hollywood. Yeah, but not like how many millions of dollars and people and everything does it take to make Tupac perform a single song?
Right.
You're talking about like a fucking 100-foot by 60-foot UFO with creatures coming out of it and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty absurd. Although, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like you could start, now that argument can start happening, I think, because of drones.
Yeah, I do think that we're getting close. Unfortunately, we're getting closer to where that
theorizing about that. Like, drones kind of make that somewhat possible.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Fucking, they can Spider-Man Far From Home it, you know?
That's right.
It is unfortunate that the advent of like drone technology has made a lot of these more feasible.
Yeah,
but that's a whole other thing.
So Clay takes this whole turn about Zionism. So he like sees this guy in 2007, and then he starts to like craft his own theory. And in 2008, he starts putting posts online. I believe the one that I was reading from him got shared to. There's one that gets on Bibliotheca Pleiades, which we love here at It Gets Weird.
Fantastic.
And hey, don't go to this website I'm about to say, but I do go to it and I know the dangers of it. Whale.to. If you know Whale.to, that is like the that is the shit storm of all fringe right-wing absurd conspiracy shit. Like it's fucked up. So be careful with that one.
Get yourself on a watch list quickly.
Yes,
kind of website.
We have been on a watch list for years.
Oh,
I'm over it
sure.
now. So so he takes this connection to this like Zionist connection here, this Zionism connection, and he connects it. And you're going to find something interesting in this. He connects it to William Blake's 1808 poem called "And Did Those Feet in Ancient Time," which is better known today simply as Jerusalem.
Okay.
So here is the short and sweet poem. And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green, and was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among those dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold. Bring me my arrows of desire. Bring me my spear, O clouds unfold. Bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem in England's green and pleasant land.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, why does this sound so familiar? And it's literally because I looked up where a self-defense family lyric came from.
Yeah, yep. Those dark satanic mills, yes. So
Yep.
they're going to build
Good song.
Jerusalem in England.
Yeah. Okay.
He's taking it very literally.
Yeah. Hey, a conspiracy theorist has never seen a metaphor they couldn't refuse to accept.
It's absolutely true. Do not speak incredibly specifically and literally among your conspiracy theorists, or else it will be misconstrued into you are a satanic worshiper who has mind control over Lady Gaga.
I feel like there's the whole thing of, remember when we watched the documentary for Chariots of the Gods, Chariot of the Gods, when they were like, oh yeah, some guy found the biblical, like, ancient Greece or whatever by taking these ancient texts literally. I feel like that broke a lot of conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
It's like it worked one time, so now they're like, oh, we just have to take everything so literally, and we will be right because it has happened once.
That, and just think, like, honestly, here's the thing. I think almost you're giving conspiracy theorists too much credit to, like, for, like, knowing
that
who
they
that
need
is.
Precedent.
Yeah, and that they need precedent too. But also just, like, I feel like this is also just a mentality that you probably pick up by going to church and getting interpretations of the Bible.
Yeah.
So, because there is a religious aspect to this, by the way. There's like biblical stuff.
Oh, good, because I've got a chambered digression. Do you ever come into a podcast recording with like a digression just in the chamber that you're waiting for the right thing?
I absolutely do. And here's the thing that's super fucked up about that.
Yeah.
It never fails.
Yeah.
It almost never fails. So,
well, this one's about religion. So yeah,
cool,
it will get there in a second.
Excellent. Well, don't worry, we're getting there. So Clay's analysis of this logo, plus this 200-year-old poem, is that it is clearly foreshadowing the Freemasons' esoteric agenda, given that William Blake was connected to the Freemasons.
Clearly. Gotcha.
So,
yep.
Yeah, he had a Freemasonry connection, and he wrote this poem about satanic mills in Jerusalem in England. Got it. He goes on to explain that he went to Google Maps to see if he could find any clues about the area. The area where the Olympic Stadium was being erected, and wow, he was rewarded. So, if you need to,
I'm really worried about like overreaching governmental surveillance. Let me just use this thing called Google Maps.
Yeah, whenever he finds a new clue, do you think he gives himself a Scooby snack? Like, he's just like, oh, Google Maps. Oh, zing, I found it.
He gives himself a chip buddy.
Yeah. That's his treat. That's sad. So here are the locations that it's basically streets that surround the stadium that they erected for the Olympics. So there is the East Cross route, which I don't quite know but he says it's actually the A12 or the A2012.
No. Is Zion Lane somewhere around there?
Yeah, right next to New World Order Street.
Yeah.
And he says that the reference here is the Eastern Cross, and that the Eastern Orthodox Cross can be considered as a modified version of the Patriarchal Cross, having two smaller cross beams. Who gives a shit? Notice how the East Cross route, which is there's like these two intersecting roads here.
Yeah.
And he says the East Cross route is also an A road numbered A12. And given the UK has hundreds of A roads, what's the likelihood that of all roads, the A2012 intersects the Olympic site?
Hey, it may have hundreds of A roads, but you know what else it has hundreds of? A-holes.
That's, wow.
Little commentary on British politics, huh?
Yeah, very good. Here, hey, check this out, by the way. So I want to list my next fact about this road in particular. He says, pause for a second and think about the shape of the letter A. Yes,
let's
it's a
ponder
pyramid.
The A. Let's consider the A.
It's a pyramid with a capstone. So symbolically, the only major road which crosses the Olympic site is the A Pyramid 2012. So,
okay, but only in certain fonts. Like,
right.
There are A's that are not a pyramid.
We're talking about Google Earth's font right now.
Yeah, we're talking about specific, your Times New Romans and your
yes. Ariel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sans serif. Yeah, absolutely. So
Fucking Christ,
goes
okay.
on. Carpenter's Road. The reference is Joseph. Joseph's profession is described in the Gospels as I can't read that, a Greek word for a variety of skilled craftsmen, but Christian tradition has him as a carpenter. So there's a biblical reference right there.
So just due to basically a long-standing mistranslation / imperfect translation, we're gonna just like lump carpentry in as a biblical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Carpenter, Joseph, you get it. Then there's the Great Eastern Road, which is referring to the Eastern Star. The Order of the Eastern Star is the largest fraternal organization in the world that both men and women can join. And basically, this is a Freemason like subset.
Okay.
And he shares the logo of that group, which this is real. This Masonic order has this logo that is a very clear pentagram, and it has 5 colors on it. I didn't.
Oh, it's like the 5 Olympic rings.
It's like the 5 Olympic rings.
Because it's not like when people choose 5 colors, it's
right.
You kind of end up around the same area.
I'm gonna feel stupid here because I've been looking at Olympic stuff all day, but it's like the primary colors, right? Like,
yeah, it mainly.
I can't remember, but
it's like green and
oh, okay. Well, so anyways, it matches up a little too well that the Freemason Street. Then, hey, honestly, some of these are a little too on the nose in my opinion. This next street is Angel Lane. So here he says this is a reference to the angel Gabriel and the Holy Spirit. And he says, angels visit Joseph and Mary. Angels announced Christ's birth to Mary and Joseph. The angel Gabriel visited Mary in Nazareth. She was engaged to Joseph. Gabriel told Mary she would give birth to the Son of God. Mary was a virgin. Gabriel told her God's power would make the conception possible. Gabriel said, nothing will be impossible with God.
This guy is giving off some real, this is giving me some Boss Baby energy, you know?
Those kind of vibes. Boss Baby talks?
No,
he just goes on rants about God.
No, I referenced this tweet. It's become a very like touchstone between Jules and I. But there was a tweet that was like someone seeing someone who's only seen the movie Boss Baby seeing another movie for the first time.
Yeah.
This is giving me some real Boss Baby vibes.
Yeah.
And it's like for someone who's like only point of reference for anything is the Bible and has no other context, reading a map is like, oh, this is giving me some real Bible
really
vibes.
Giving you Bible vibes.
It's giving me it's giving me Boss Baby vibes. I think I've explained that before on this podcast, but it's something that at this point I reference almost
often enough that
without thinking. In sometimes. So that if I ever say something about Boss Baby vibes, that's the context.
Cool. We have a couple more roads.
Oh, good. How
many
fucking roads cross around this one building?
A good number of them. I mean, it's got like a lot of intersections and things around it. And
okay.
So we've got Temple Mills Lane, which
it's deep satanic mills. I gotcha. Temples are a thing. Yeah.
Etc. Church Road.
When you said some of these are a little on the nose.
Yeah, it's and I love here his explanation is so its name comes from the Christian place of worship. So it's my brain, pretty much.
Consider my brain blown.
Yeah, absolutely. That was that.
Oh my god.
That's not the only time I'm going to be blowing your brain this episode.
Fantastic.
I promise. So he points out how a number of streets nearby have the word lay in them as an Ley. And that would be Leighton and Leytonstone Road. And he says that the Olympic 2012 site is situated.
We're doing parts of words now?
Yes.
God damn it.
Well, and that's the thing is like some of them are like that. Like some of them are like parts of the word of the street. It's so he's just kind of picking what he needs, you know? So he says that the Olympics 2012 site is situated between Leighton and Leytonstone, and the ley found in their names must originate from the term ley lines.
It must. What the fuck are you talking about? No.
He
strike that one from the record. I'm going to edit that out of this podcast. That's stupid.
I didn't write this.
I know.
He basically, I mean, so if you the short version is ley lines are like spots of like mystical power on the earth, if you believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
And he says that our ancestors knew that ley lines, earth grids, and vortexes were energy sources and centers that were to be considered holy. A ley line is one of a number of lines which form part of an energy grid that crosses the Earth. And he says, so is there any documentary proof that ley lines cross near Leighton and Leytonstone? You bet there is. Now, he loses me here a little bit because I think this is something. So he says the Bender site and the old yew tree in it were the short-lived heart of Leytonstonia, decorated with a curb henge, a replica of Stonehenge made with curbstones. Some talked of the significance of the names Leighton and Leytonstone, of their relation to ley lines more generally, as thought this might explain the energy of the protest sites. A brick henge was made at Claremont Road, halfway between Leighton and Leytonstone. So there was, I think, something happened in the spot that he's talking about where the Leighton and Leytonstone spots are, and that there was like some sort of like recreation of Stonehenge there.
Okay.
I don't quite know I couldn't figure out what he was talking about here. So Clay's conclusion, I almost said confusion, which also fair.
Yeah.
His conclusion to all this is that the Masonic and biblical imagery that is supposedly represented in the location of the 2012 Olympic Stadium, coupled with the Zion logo, can't be coincidence or a massive, massive reach by Clay. And so something big must be coming for this event. Now, here is where Clay goes full galaxy brain with numerology and symbolism.
Oh, fantastic.
So you probably don't remember, because I didn't, but the 2012 Olympics were the Triple X Olympiad.
No, I don't remember that.
As in like the Roman numeral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But are they like numbered? Are the Olympics numbered?
Think so.
Okay. I mean,
so.
if this is the 30th, then they would have to be. But
yeah,
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, I do believe that they are supposed to be numbered, and so he says this was the Triple X, and he points out his concern about how Triple X permeates human lives in the following ways: 1, pornography;
2, hooch;
2,
big jug on it has 3 X's on it. Gets me real drunk.
Yeah. Big jug of juice that makes a man hoot and holler.
Yeah.
Honestly,
3 big jugs.
3 big jugs.
Oh God.
So the things that he pulls are so fucking funny. So he says pornography.
Yeah.
Then he says kisses on a letter, email, or greeting card.
But that's not normally just like 3 X's.
But if you really wanted to
XOXO.
send your kisses to your lover through a card, you put 3 big X's there, and that told them, "I want to kiss you and or have sex with you."
Okay, maybe you do. Maybe that's the thing that I'm.
You never.
No, I know that X means kiss, but I've never seen 3 X's as like a. I really like to kiss you 3 times.
Don't you remember XXX Gossip Girl?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that is.
That's how she would like sign out her. She would say XOXO. It's somebody out there who knew
what the show Gossip Girl. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
okay.
she would. The episodes would end, I believe, with her going XOXO Gossip Girl.
Oh, okay.
My sister watched it. I remember these things. Then he goes on to say, Triple X in Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, the TV show. And then in parentheticals, he says, for the few who still watch TV.
Yeah, the TV, that fad. Who remembers TV?
I guess there's a Triple X in that title.
If I understand the show correctly, an X is when a judge passes on them. So 3 X's would be all 3 judges passing on the contestant and saying they're not good.
Now, my other favorite one is then he says Triple X represented in the cinema. Triple X with Vin Diesel.
Return of Xander Cage. Let's go, baby.
It's so fucking good. And then no fucking clue what this means
at
all.
If I can help you out here.
But it's not biblical. Maybe it is. His last thing was that Triple X represents a certain someone's birthday in 2012. I don't know what that means at all. No idea what that means.
A certain someone's birthday in 2012.
I don't know.
That is beyond me. I do not know. Okay.
And he says, so here's his concern with Triple X.
I mean, I know the second movie doesn't have Vin Diesel in it, but like he comes back for the third one, and what else can you really do? It was partially to get the Riddick rights so he could make more Riddick movies.
Yeah,
which is really the Lord's work.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what you're gonna understand why it was a sin for you to enjoy Vin Diesel's Triple X film.
I actually haven't seen the Triple X films. But,
okay, that's good.
But I will be sinning if I watch
hold
them.
up.
Okay.
Imagine for a moment that when you've been showing respect, releasing emotion and energy to any of the above Triple X sequences, you've been feeding the biggest occult agenda known to man. An agenda which will bring about the spiritual ascension of the world under a false messiah known as the Son of God. So
wait, the Son of God is the false messiah?
He's saying that the false messiah will come along and proclaim himself as the Son of God.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so just the Revelations thing. Gotcha. Yes. I was like, is this guy taking some really weird turn where the second coming of Christ is actually bad?
So if you enjoyed Triple X starring Vin Diesel, you brought the spiritual energy of our reality down a peg. And if you masturbated to Vin Diesel's Triple X, you fucking took us down a whole tier.
If you masturbated to the birth of some random person in 2012 shown by the XXX.
No idea what that means. No clue.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I do think it's interesting that he just like completely missed the obvious like jug of hooch. I know he's British, so that might be an American thing.
Maybe that's a
hey, so's fucking Triple X Return of Xander Cage. So
but that had an international thing, and I'm sure
they got jugs of hooch in Britain.
Well,
I know they have like bathtub gin. That's a thing.
That's fair. Maybe he's just not. Maybe he was straight edge. I don't know.
Yeah. Yet again, Triple X.
Oh, that's true. We're not fucking safe from anything.
Yeah, if you've ever moshed to youth of today, you've contributed to the spiritual downfall.
Gorilla Biscuits is bringing the human consciousness down a couple levels.
Oh fuck.
So here's
Satan's disciple, Ian Mackay.
Honestly, that's pretty cool for him. I think
good for him.
Here's where Clay drops the bombshell. The 2012 Olympics will be the site of a pre-planned alien invasion and the anointment of an end times messiah, which he doesn't explicitly refer to here as the Antichrist, but I'm assuming that's what he means.
Probably Daniel Craig.
It's Daniel Craig. There's a timeline where Daniel Craig killed the queen on live television and anointed himself as the Antichrist.
Yeah, as the Son of God. Yep.
He also looks back on other X-Olympics with crazy numerology stuff. So here I had to try... my God, I really had to try to summarize this. So Clay, one of the things that I learned about this guy, he was extremely into the number 11.
Okay.
And he believed that 1111, like he writes it like 11 colon 11. Like I don't fully understand what he's going for with all this.
Okay.
But he says that this like sequence of numbers 1111 has connection to like real world events and honestly maybe even reality itself.
Okay. I mean, sure. I don't know exactly what he's going for here.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to explain this in a way that makes any sense at all. One of the articles that I found about him even refers to him as the prophet of 1111. And he points out how in the 1972 Munich XX Olympiad, the infamous terrorist attack that killed 11 Israelis was conducted by a terrorist group called Black September. The 9th month, aka 9/11.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you want to do that and like, have you ever looked at? There's like a Twitter account called Chronocubricology or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and it's literally just like a guy. I don't know who runs this. I don't know anything about this account other than it's like I occasionally look at it and just go, huh.
Yeah.
This is a lot of work for some real gibberish.
Yes.
Because it's literally just finding like connections like that between wildly disparate things. It's like I don't know if it's like an exercise or if they actually believe in the things they're saying or like I really don't know. But it's like it always reminds me, this is probably a weird poll, but all of this stuff just reminds me of the end of Black Dynamite,
I don't remember.
where he's
Oh!
like exposing how
Yes.
the man is like using Colt 45, and it's like
Yes.
all of these like weird like relationships and metaphors and polls and
That's-
stuff to lead to this thing. Yeah.
I think that's apropos, honestly. That
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. That is exactly what these people are doing, but just like not in a very funny way, just like in a very gibberishy way.
Yeah.
Like I listened to a radio show of him explaining his numerology. It's like a 3.5 hour thing.
Jesus Christ.
And it is him talking about all of the connections to 1111. It's nuts. I have no idea what he was saying. But this is where I was like, here's me trying to here's what I think he is saying. So he says that the XX Olympics hosted 121 countries, and that if you look at a sequence of numbers as being a pyramid of numbers, so think 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, where it like ascends up to a top number, and then descends back down. He thinks of it like as he for some reason thinks of that as being a pyramid.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to kind of picture.
So
because it's like
where would
1,
how
1 goes
11
up.
fit in there?
So okay, that's what I'm trying to explain here. So it's like you can look at 121 as his pyramid number, and that is somehow equaled out to 11 by 11. So you have to think of the inner ones of each 11 overlapping onto each other and equaling out to 2. I know it's really so. Like if you picture like you know how I said 1, 2, 3, 2, 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've got 2 1s on the left side of the base of the pyramid and 2 1s on the right side of the base of the pyramid, and then it goes up a level, and then it's just 2 and 2, and then at the top it's 3. It doesn't make sense, but that's what I think he is trying to say.
Okay.
Does that make any sense at all?
I mean, I think I know what you're just. I think I understand the picture you're painting, but I do not understand how this works. I like. Maybe this is some sort of thing that exists out there, or maybe this is just his thing. I don't know, but I understand that you can put 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 as a pyramid. Why you would do that from 11 makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah,
to me.
and the 121 that he cites for like the countries invited, is like if you separate. It's like if you somehow like separate 2 out into the pair of 1s that compose it, then it becomes 1111. It's very
okay.
It's so dumb. It's so completely
absurd. Do you think
absurd.
this guy's favorite Rush album is 2112?
You know what? Probably. Honestly, I didn't find anything about his musical interest. I did find that I don't want to get too far ahead, but he has like his presence shows up on spirituality stuff a lot, and on funnily enough, he showed up on a couple of posts on the cannabis forums. So some sort of like weird free spirituality conspiracy bullshit.
Okay.
So I don't know how to explain that any better because it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And he like if you want to hear, you can find his radio talk where he just basically does weird math. And then he's like, and that connects to September 11th, and that connects to this, and that connects to the biblical this, and he does it a ton. He also goes off on this like, the show that he was on is a fringe right-wing conspiracy show called Red Ice Creations. So that's where I found him. And yeah, 11 is somehow connected to reality itself. I like these 1111 theories are like an episode in and of themselves, but it ties into the Olympics conspiracy.
Okay, yeah, we're talking about the fucking Olympics.
Right. So
okay.
I didn't get too deep into his 1111 thing just because it's in absurd bullshit and I don't know math very well, and also it was kind of just a list of things.
Yeah, that's always hard to make interesting.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead with the understanding that I at least can picture what you're talking about with this number stuff, even if it does not make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense, but picturing it is a good start.
Okay.
He goes on back even further to the Olympiad, the Los Angeles Summer Olympics of 1932. And he says, The 1932 Summer Olympics, officially known as the Games of the Ex-Olympiad, were celebrated in 1932. No other cities made a bid to host the Olympics. This was held during the worldwide Great Depression. Many nations and athletes were unable to pay for the trip to Los Angeles. Fewer than half the number of participants from the 1928 Summer Olympics in Amsterdam competed in 1932. The Games of the Ex-Olympiad were also first to use the victory podium. That's right, a pyramid.
An uneven one. Like, if with all of his like seemingly like symmetrical stuff and all this like nonsense, you think that would be important, but no, he sees some steps artfully placed and is like, he just gets a little hard, you know?
Yeah, this dude freaks the fuck out when he.
Hey, if I can't expend energy to triple X or various other things involving those three letters, you can't get hard looking at pyramids, my dude.
He can't. He's no longer allowed within multiple miles of Bass Pro Shops, and he has to go to bed at 10:45 p.m. or else he'll just not sleep that night.
Yeah, he's also not allowed in Egypt whatsoever.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's not allowed in reality because he's dead. So,
okay.
We'll get to that. So, as you can see, the X and XX Olympiads both witnessed remarkable world events unrivaled by any other Olympic Games. The 1930, which I'm assuming he's just saying the Great Depression.
Yeah, the Great Depression, and yeah, okay.
The 1932 Games were held in the midst of the worldwide Great Depression, 1972 global terror. Does it seem so unrealistic that the Triple X Olympiad may have a surprise in store? The letter X is more significant than you think. Hold on to your fucking ass. Here he goes again. First of all, you need to understand that the characters of the English alphabet are more than just letters.
Is he going to say that X is 11, but turned into a letter because it's two ones crossing each other?
Not quite.
Okay, good.
But you're not wrong with the like logic idea here.
Okay.
They are symbols with meaning, sometimes multiple meanings, much like the Egyptian hieroglyphs. They are talismans.
Look, I've accepted these things. This is fine. This is par for the course with like trying to dissect any of this shit. So I'm with you.
X is the 24th letter of the English alphabet. 2 plus 4 and 2 plus 4 and 2 plus 4. So you deconstruct 24 into 2 plus 4 instead for some reason.
Yeah,
and that's 666. He's not saying 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4. He's saying the triple.
It's 3 X's, so
yes.
You do 2 plus 4 3 times, and you get 666.
Yes.
I get what he's doing. That groan was not one of lack of comprehension.
Right.
It was just like,
Jesus, here we go.
I feel like I've read this like 10,000 times because people will find 666 in anything.
Anything.
Like when we looked up 9/11 conspiracies, that shit is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, here's the thing. There aren't that many integers out there, people. So if you start to break down larger numbers into integers, you're going to find some commonalities and be able to turn it somehow into whatever the fuck you want, because that's how numbers work.
Again, these are people who are like struggling with the concept that like natural law and mathematics are like closely tied. That's just like, that's the nature of reality. Yeah. And that's so there, but clearly there's like deeper spiritual meaning to it. So I'm not going to get into the specifics of this, but he digs deeper into the letter X. He relates it to Chinese Qi, the mother goddess Isis, Gaia, Horus, the son of God, aka Jesus Christ. That's his words, not mine.
Yeah, and I watch Zeitgeist too. It's fine.
That's a link on one of the websites for his like sort of memorial page, by the way, is Zeitgeist.
Oh, is he in it, or is it just
no? It's just here links that you should click if you like his stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then he also says triple X is a representation of the Holy Trinity, which I feel is a little contradictory given that this Olympics conspiracy hinges on triple X equals Satan, but whatever.
Yeah, that does. But if the Antichrist is hiding in as the Son of God, then yada 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 yada, whatever the fuck.
So he also digs into his examples from before. He says triple X pornography, single men around the world giving away their every energy to the computer screen, the most potent energy of all.
You got to practice semen retention.
That's
everyone.
Right. That's exactly right.
Keep that shit in.
Here's the thing: if this guy were alive today, I guarantee that would be a thing he would be into. 100%.
Probably, yeah.
Triple X the movie, shown in cinemas around the globe, designed to excite the audience.
Now, some people might think that it didn't do quite a good enough job because Diesel didn't even come back for the sequel.
Yeah.
The third movie was like over a decade later and only happened because of the success of the Fast and the Furious franchise. Like, some people may think it wasn't quite exciting enough, but
yeah. And then, of course, he's Britain's or America's Got Talent, 3 judges, 2 men, 1 woman, father, son, and mother, the Trinity. Sat in front of a live TV audience beaming into homes.
That's not what the Holy Trinity is.
Well, Niall.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Like, come on.
The Holy Spirit is the mother. I think he's like thinking of the world spirit as being the mother. And it's a weird
he's
jumble.
just conflating a bunch of shit to make it work. I know what he's doing. It's just funny. Go ahead.
But the Holy Trinity sat in front of a live TV audience beaming into homes around the world via the television set. Laughter, tears, panic, applause, a range of emotions feeding yet more energy into the symbol Triple X.
I do think it's funny that he picked Britain and America's Got Talent when like a 3-judge reality show is such a common thing that like...
That's because they have the X buzzers.
But so I feel like...
You are the weakest.
So do other like... It's not uncommon.
Yeah, no.
That is just like a thing that you do. And this guy would have like lost his mind looking at Hollywood squares.
Yeah.
Like, circle
he
takes
can't
the
play
square.
tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
It's so the other thing that he gets into is he cites a video which is basically this like hype up advertisement for the 2012 Olympics in London.
Okay.
And he points out that there's a part in the video where what appears to be 2 sets of chimneys on either side of a big building framed in the video, and that these chimneys are both positioned to be representations of the 11/11.
Sure. Okay.
He also talks about a thing that's actually true, which is how in the video, these little colorful UFOs fly around London, specifically around the London Eye Ferris wheel, which is meant to represent the all-seeing eye. Now, just to be clear
the
here...
The all-seeing eye is a triangle, right?
Yes, but this thing's called the eye, so it counts. Now, just to kind of clarify this, the UFOs that, like, I watched the video, they're revealed, they're flying around, but then they're, like, revealed to be these, like, pods where all the, like, concessions and things will take place in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, this, like, big UFO mothership thing flies overhead. But the thing is, all these things that he cites in the videos as being, like, crazy signals to the New World Order, these are, like, the different parts of the stadium.
Yeah.
So they're just like showing the different parts and how they're being built.
They're just having fun with it.
Yeah. It shows this UFO, this giant UFO. And then there's actually these like the UFO itself was like a series of cable net roof pieces that are kind of deconstructed. And then there's also these big metallic ladder-like objects crawling around London, which Clay calls like metallic walkers. And these are shown as being like the base that will make up the seating in the stadium. The other important thing that he mentions in the video is there's these blue light, these birds made of like blue light flying around London.
Okay.
Give you exactly one guess what he thinks
Project Bluebeam?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he basically just says that this is all an allusion to Project Bluebeam. And it's signifying the New World Order's intentions.
I'm on board.
You're on board?
I'm so on board already.
I'll have to show you the video so you can get hyped up for the New World Order stuff that's coming down the pipe.
Still coming 10 years later.
Now, there's another little interesting thing here. I have a snippet here from the Washington Post article that kind of embellishes his like... He kind of gets into this, but not really. They have to talk to people who like were basically, this was the next step from his sort of version of the conspiracy, where they started talking. People were interviewed, and one person was even taken to the stadium before the Olympics to just show them and be like, hey, is this lining up with your theories? Like the Washington Post did that.
Jesus.
And they interviewed a guy who like remained anonymous. And it says here from the article, Prince William is the obvious choice for the king of this new Jerusalem because of his royal bloodline. his birthday, the 21st of June, the summer solstice, and the fact that he will be 30 years old in 2012, the year of the 30th Olympiad, or triple X in Roman numerals. So that was the birthday. I'm just now drawing the connection.
Yeah.
I just now realized that. Numerology counts for a lot in these circles, and as for the fake UFO invasion, the theorists note the closing ceremony of the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, in which a flying saucer landed in the stadium and an alien walked out and waved to the crowd.
These people can never just realize that people think aliens are kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like,
people enjoy it. Why do you think X-Files and Independence Day and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, people really like aliens?
Yeah.
The stage spectacle in which a blacked out military helicopter lowered a model spaceship by cable into the Coliseum did not prompt mass panic, but it has been interpreted as a warm-up. So
everything's a warm-up to these people until something happens. And like it's yet again, it feels like doomsday prophecies. It feels like, oh, we went back and checked the math and it's actually next year. Like it just feels like we're going to keep pushing it off until they finally get proven right, when nothing, like, they aren't going to get proven right, much like the world's not going to end in the kind of Mayan cataclysm way. It's just going to, we're going to kill ourselves with smog and pollution.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, that's,
we're going to go the fun way.
The fun way.
The advocates of the London Zion, as the theory has come to be known, have been poring over London Olympics promotional videos and finding a lot of suspicious symbolism in them. Flying saucers and other spaceship-like objects light in the skies, stadiums in flames, all-seeing eyes. And then Wenlock and Mandeville came along, and that's when the theory got its legs. Now, I have to skip over a bunch of stuff because there's a whole bunch more. And frankly, it's pretty stupid, and not in a fun way, more of a boring way.
Yeah.
But I think the last big bombshell that really got me was him claiming that the 1998 UK passport depicts chakras sealed away by a pentagram.
Please explain.
I've looked at the design, and I gotta be honest, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Okay. Is there a pentagram involved?
No, that's the thing that confuses me about it. Is it's like, you can kind of see, if anything, you could like maybe make an argument like, oh, it kind of looks like in the general shape of like ovaries. Kind of.
I mean, there is a 5-pointed star in that. Like,
but he drew that on there.
Oh, he drew that?
He drew that on top of a circle. I guessed that there's,
let me look
basically
again,
it's a circle with nubs at 5 points.
Yeah, that just looks like kind of a flowery kind of symmetrical design.
Yeah, there's like flowers on it and it's symmetrical, but the circles that he's talking about that are like placed over what is supposedly chakras have like nubs at 5 points, and you can connect them and turn them into a star.
And like, fine. I don't know. I never know what to do with those things, because like it is a kind of a flowery looking design with 5 little nubs and a place that you can draw some pentagrams if you want to. Like, sure. Do I think that was an intentional thing about the chakras and being sealed by pentagrams? No, I don't. But I can't argue that you can draw on this passport. Yeah, that's fine.
He draws all over it and like points out where the different spots are of the chakras and the pentagrams.
Do those actually line up with like a chakra diagram, or is it just there are 5 points?
I mean, it's just that there's like the 5 point. Like when I saw it next to the chakra thing, it's just like if you took literally any like graphic design thing that was symmetrical like this, then you could like separate different points of it that would be like, oh, here's where this chakra goes. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. And the thing that also really gets me about that is in the top left corner of the image that he shares, there is like this, like, I don't know, it's like a serial number, and at the end of the serial number is the number 11. So
I'm glad. I'm surprised he didn't jump onto that.
Yeah. He also, God, he does weird numerology stuff here too. So that's like the final thing. I'm not going to get into it because it's like he does more symbology and numerology that makes no sense. And he starts talking about 11 by 11 times 11 by 11 and times 11 by 11 and stuff like that. It's like, it's completely absurd.
Okay.
But that's pretty much Clay's spiel on the 2012 Olympics. Like, he heard it from that one other guy, the oil baron, and like ran with it and then popularized it. And this kicked off this craze of conspiracy theorizing on these like fringe internet forums, tons of it. Some followed the fake planned alien invasion path, while others went for a more non-alien path, which was like the Illuminati mass prison thing.
Yeah.
All which ultimately was supposed to serve the same end goal of like
New World Order.
New World Order, like cede your power to these people. And yeah, all based on the same ridiculous evidence put forth by Clay. And here's the thing. Clay was putting out this conspiracy in 2008, and this was during the Beijing Olympics at the time, which that logo from 2008 also he is rearranged to say Zion. I don't even know. It's even weirder than the 2012 one. It's a very stylized logo, and you have to do a couple backflips while you're using Adobe Photoshop to make it happen. But so this conspiracy would end up getting locked in forever in the canon because unfortunately in 2008, Rick Clay would commit suicide 11 weeks from his 26th birthday.
This guy didn't even hit 26?
Correct.
Holy shit. Okay, This story just got a lot sadder.
Yeah, it's sad.
Oh, man. Okay.
I realized that's
in my head, I just was like, imagine this is like a 40 to 50-year-old man.
This was a young guy who knows what was going on with him.
Jesus,
I don't know. I realize that's dark, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I think he's an episode. But now right-wing conspiracy folks who like have heard him on the radio talking about how the Zionist New World Order is going to take over the world through the Olympics and that they've been seeding this for decades, if not centuries.
Yeah.
Like he's solidified now, and everybody's just like, well, who killed Rick Clay and made it look like a suicide? That is
okay.
That is where he ended up leaving his legacy. I realize that's dark.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dwell on it, but like by the time I found out he was dead, I was deep in the paint on this episode. Reading his posts from 2008.
We've covered a lot of, unfortunately, dead people on this podcast. It happens. It's sad this guy died that young. I will say that. But it happens. So
yeah. Yeah. And all I can really say is like, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of like conspiracy wonks, like just doing insane galaxy math to try and like elaborate on these theories, literally nitpicking just totally innocuous phrases that were uttered by people in promotional videos and stuff. It went so fucking far. It is absurd. You can Google it and find it. It's Above Top Secret, Godlike Productions, those horrible websites of idiots.
Yeah.
You can find people talking about that stuff. Very last thing before I get to the big question. One more little thing that I was like, I have to mention this because, again, the last thing I saw about this conspiracy in particular was that in 6 years ago, somebody on Reddit basically posted about how they were having dreams that Mandela effects were happening and that they had dreams that during the 2012 Olympics, there was an alien invasion. And they had multiple dreams about it. And then they said, I think this is a Mandela effect. And we went out of the timeline where that happened. So I saw that 6 years ago.
Okay.
And then in 2020, some folks, and I saw this in like a video and a couple of posts online, they began theorizing that the 2012 London Olympics was actually a signal that the New World Order would end up manufacturing the COVID-19 pandemic. And their evidence comes from weird opening ceremony stuff. So like there's this whole thing where it's, it's basically children being rolled around by nannies in these beds, like a ton of children being rolled out in these beds.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this.
But they kind of look like hospital beds and nurses. And they're playing the footage in the video that I saw. They're playing the footage of these nannies and the beds. And the nannies jumping and dancing around, and then it would cut to nurses doing TikTok dances during the pandemic. And there was like
Jesus fucking
I'm sorry,
Christ.
This is a grim ending. I'm so sorry. And then it would be like there were like these monsters that came out and they rolled out like famous British villains. And so there's like Voldemort in a cloak, right? But that's a New World Order guy. Notorious turf J.K. Rowling does like a little storybook presentation at it. It's a whole thing. But then they overlay the actual like image of the viral COVID-19 with the little you've all seen the image of what the like visual representation of the virus. They overlaid it on top of the stadium to be like the stadium is designed to look like COVID-19. And it doesn't work at all, by the way.
I'm sure it doesn't, but they think but it's by Church Street, so.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to say that one of the things I remember from the James Bond bit with the Queen was that they're fucking flying over London and a statue of Winston Churchill comes to life and waves and smiles at James Bond.
Is that a thing that you watched this time or a thing that you remember from?
Oh, no, I watched this in complete befuddlement.
I was trying to figure out if this was a Mandela effect again.
Oh, no, this happened. This happened. So that was kind of fun.
Do you have a cigar or something? Was he? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So fun story with a terrible dark twist.
Yeah.
Sorry. Awful. But that's where that's at, and I'm sure there will be more conspiracy theories about the latest Olympics, guaranteed.
Look, especially with some of the imagery of like these like power plant towers behind ski jumps and stuff, people are really on one already. So it's I'm sure we could do more conspiracies about Olympic Games, maybe for the next Olympics.
Yeah. Okay, so that, Niall, leads me to the big question. If you're ready,
what you got for me?
Okay. How do you think that James Bond assassinated the Queen? Because, we all know she's dead, right? Like, we know that she died. They're really slow rolling the release.
Other conspiracy theory of like there was some date where they were trying to wait to announce the Queen's death until a certain holiday, which would cause like a period of mourning that would give like this like weirdly long bank holiday kind of thing. I don't know.
You saw like the actual conspiracy side of it. The thing that I kind of saw was people just being like, yeah, she's dead, and they're like not sure how to like handle this, and they want to like transition power in such and such a way, and that's why they haven't said anything. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think she's dead, and I think James Bond got her.
He finally fulfilled his mission.
Finally fucking got it.
Oh man.
I'll go if you don't mind me.
Go for it.
I think he took a nice fucking wire.
You're just going straight to like he garroted the.
Yeah, she fought hard, and it didn't go down easy. But I think that he just kind of fucking took her out with one of those wires from behind, and rest in peace.
I think Q. And I'm not talking the young one. I'm talking Desmond Llewellyn.
Yeah.
Because this happened a while ago. He saw the Hitman games.
Oh, okay.
And was like, "Oh, I love that glitch where if you throw the briefcase, it can like track people down." So he made 007 a kind of heat-seeking briefcase that he was able to then sneak through into the
Westminster Abbey?
Where the fuck does the Queen live?
I don't fucking know. The Queen's Village? The Queen's...
Buckminster Palace? Is that what it is? I'm coming off like a fucking idiot.
I don't know. No, here's the thing. Why would you have to care about that
007
shit?
snuck into the song Crazy Bitch by Buck Cherry. No, this is... 007 snuck into the Queen's residence with the heat-seeking briefcase, and from like downtown, like at the end of like from like the public tour, just winged the briefcase down a hallway, and it just did its job and returned him.
Follows her into the room.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to step like within like 400 feet of the Queen to accomplish this.
Yeah, maybe another agent finishes her off with a spaghetti punch.
No, this is an effective briefcase. It's weighted.
Okay,
this thing will take
full
her
of
out.
Like rocks and pebbles.
Yeah. And also, honestly, the Queen is so old that like it's not to get too grim, but it won't take much.
Yeah. It's like a fucking... I mean, just picture this like a briefcase filled with rocks.
I like that you're just like, what should we do for the big question this week? Let's figure out how to commit like not just a murder, but like an assassination.
You're trying to do it. It was James Bond.
We're just gonna like plot a fictional. I want to repeat, fictional.
This is a joke comedy
assassination.
podcast. I would like to remind everybody listening at home, this is a comedy podcast, and
Yeah.
we're not liable or guilty of anything we say at all. No, definitely joke podcast. Jokes. The Queen's probably fine.
Yeah, I'm sure
She'll probably live another 50 years.
She's gonna come out looking 20 years younger.
They fucking hooked her up with the serum that they gave to the super soldier guy.
Okay. I thought we were gonna go adrenochrome, but yeah, that works too.
She's got like a cocktail of adrenochrome and the Andy.
I just imagine at this point they have like the New World Order people have like adrenochrome and like Capri Sun pouches.
Yeah, probably.
And they just like slurp it down.
They just smash them.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
now, you think that takes us to some business?
Yeah, I guess that will take us to some business. I'll have to save my planned digression for another day.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to find more of this show, you can follow us on social media and on Twitter at IGW Podcast.
You can follow us on Facebook.com/ItGetsWeirdPodcast.
And we're on all your favorite podcatchers from Stitcher to Google Play to Apple Podcasts to Spotify. If you listen to podcasts somewhere, look us up. Look up It Gets Weird, and we're probably there.
ItGetsWeirdPodcast@gmail.com. How do you think James Bond murdered the Queen?
I feel like I have to like look up some laws before we release this episode.
Sorry. It
is James Bond. It's not us.
It's
Who's
James
a fictional
Bond, character,
Yeah.
comedy podcast. I think our butts are good. We're fine. We're safe. We don't mean any of this.
No.
Nothing we've ever said we've meant. Patreon.com/itgetsweird. You can donate $2. You can donate to us. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Yeah, you really lost it there.
It's just like funny to me. Yeah, so like we're gonna pivot directly from the death of the Queen jokes to why don't you send us some money our way?
Yeah, why don't you follow our podcast? And
we have a $2 tier and a $5 tier. At the $2 tier, you're gonna get access to It Gets Weird TV every week or every other week. I'm sorry, and then. If you donate at the $5 tier, you get access to that show plus all our other shows that we do. So you're going to be getting bonus content every week instead of every other week. And then whether or not you donate to the $2 tier or the $5 tier, you get access to our main shows 2 days early on Friday instead of Sunday on your own personal feed. You get access to our Discord, which we're always chatting about crazy shit in there. And we also have a $1 tier that you can donate to. You don't get anything out of it. It's just kind of like a tip saying like, hey, I like the stuff you guys do. But it's just kind of like kick us a buck every month to say I like the show. If you can't donate to us, then please go ahead and tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your congressman all about It Gets Weird. If you'd like to hear Niall's digression, you can also hear that at the $5 tier.
I'm just gonna. I probably could knock out like a 20-minute episode on just the lunacy of let's see there probably people have heard about this the like ripple effect of a slight misspeaking of baptism in the Catholic Church.
Oh, I saw this.
It is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
It is like the wildest story, and I'm having so much fun reading about it. So maybe we'll talk about that at a later date. Hopefully there's some stuff that comes out of it that we can talk about on this podcast.
Could be fun. But Niall, that is the Olympic 2012 conspiracy.
Fantastic. So on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. I've been Niall.
And I'm Kyle signing out.
Peace.